So it's 8:30. I'm not sure anyone is coming in. Maybe Terence want to start.
Okay. CO2 and good evening, everyone. Welcome to MSBS Speaker Meditation by Phra Goh. Today is the 25th of January, 2022. Just a gentle reminder, we'll be having 2 weeks off during Chinese New Year. So there won't be any classes on the 1st and the 8th of February. Yeah? The next class will be on the 𝙎𝙪𝙩𝙩𝙖, 15th of February. Okay. We were discussing just now everything on COVID. So we hope that everyone up there stay safe and be healthy. We are very grateful to have with us 𝙈𝙖𝙣𝙑𝙑𝙑 Adhibalo, popularly known as Phra Goh. 𝙈𝙖𝙣 was born on July 14, 1985 and was ordained in 2008 under the Dhamma sect at Santi Cross Monastery. 𝙈𝙖𝙣 is currently the religious advisor to Buddhist Youth Network, Singapore. This week, we are continuing on the Blessing Sutra, Mangala Sutra. 𝙈𝙖𝙣 will be leading the homage to Buddha and taking a 5 precepts for Buddhists. Now, let us compose our minds, put our thumbs together, and welcome 𝙈𝙖𝙣. Over to you, 𝙈𝙖𝙣.
Okay, thank you, Terence, for the introduction. So you give 3 bows to the Buddha. First bow, second bow, and third bow. Homage. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. 3 refuges. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. And the 5 precepts. Pāṇātipada vīramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Adinādāna vīramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Kāmesu micchācārā vīramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Musāvādā vīramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Surameraya majjapamadatthāna vīramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so good evening, everyone. We are continuing today's topic on the Mangala Sutta. So we've already began talking for 2 lessons. So today is the 3rd lesson. Yeah, so we've already covered these first few pointers on the Mangala Sutta. So last week we talked about having a broad skill of knowledge. Yeah, so because everything is impermanent, yeah, the economy is impermanent, and if you want to survive, As a layperson, you need all the skills you have. So vice versa in practice, spiritual practice, having broad knowledge is also important, not just health, exercise. Also, you have to sometimes have certain knowledge, awareness of certain happenings, like what are the restrictions in temples or at homes, how many people can gather, whether can you practice physically or can you practice online, those kind of stuff. So it's good to be aware of the situation. Right? So this is part of surviving in this circular world. Okay, next. Okay, so the next portion is this support for one's parents, assistance to one's spouse and children, jobs that are not left unfinished. And this is the highest blessing. So it's very important to support one's parents, right? Not just materially, but also spiritually. So I think the Buddha talked about this 𝙎𝙪𝙩𝙩𝙑 Sutta on gratitude. Right? And he mentioned how to repay one's parents. So the Mahayana also have this something similar called the Filial Piety Sutra. So they talk about the suffering one's parents have to go through to raise you up, especially the mother. So even if a child like us, we were to offer them everything in the whole world, we buy all kinds of property, we own all kinds of possessions, we give all kinds of material things to our parents, that is still not enough to support one's parents. So the Buddha is looking at long term. I'm not saying do not support them materially. Yes, you need to assist them whenever possible. But beyond that, beyond material needs, then the Buddha also mentioned servicing one's parents, providing service. If a person were to massage them while carrying both parents on their shoulders, father one side, mother one side, and then you carry on both shoulders, you massage them, and they urinate or pass bowel on you, and you need to clean them up. That also won't be able to repay your parents. Imagine it doing this for the entire retirement. And that is also not enough to repay one's parents. So what is enough? So not just materially, not just emotionally, but also through the Dhamma. So the Buddha, when he talk about long term, he also talk about the state of mind and also future lifetime. So if a person has, if let's say the parents remain, let's say, immoral, remain selfish, remain greedy, or remain stingy, right? So now they can enjoy whatever material things you give them in this lifetime. Then what about the next life? So if they remain greedy or angry, then they won't end up in a good realm. So that is not sufficient to repay one's parents, right? So if our parents give us life, right, and we manage to learn something sublime, learn the Dhamma, then we should also sort of pay it forward. So if a child can transform one's parents from a person without faith, doesn't have faith in goodness or doesn't have faith in triple jets, and doesn't have faith in morality and sila samadhi panya, doesn't have faith in morality, doesn't have faith in development of the mind, doesn't have faith in this wisdom or detachment. A person can be whole life, their goal is just maybe, for example, making money, and they don't see anything beyond that. So if that is their purpose in life, then if a child can change that state of mind, can transform one's parents and let them see the light, let go, don't be too closed in the box. Open the mind, open one's heart, becomes less, have faith in this spirituality, then in a way, one has repaid one's parents. So this is the first step, to have faith in this spiritual path. And of course, if you want to go further, have faith in the triple gems, the teachings, the practice, the method leading to this spirituality. So this is one way to repay one's parents. And next is, if a person can transform, not just faith, but also through their deeds, body, speech, and mind. They maybe behave quite unwholesomely, have certain negative, bad habits, and you transform them, you inspire them or persuade them to be more positive. Then this is another way of repaying one's parents. And also, better still, if a person can instill some mental cultivation. Maybe ask them to meditate, ask them to do chanting, get them to reflect in certain teachings, and they gain wisdom. So this is better still, to repay one's parents. So this is one different levels of support. So we talked about material support all the way to spiritual support for one's parents. And next one, assistance to one's spouse and children. So if a person, let's say if you're a householder, you're married, then it's, we talked about this in last year's Sigalovara Sutta, right? All the roles, duties, and responsibilities, the husband and wife, and between children to parent, parent to children, what are the things, obligations need to be done to have a harmonious family. So when in times of need, the spouse is not there to help, then this marriage thing or these family ties, it's we say it's a continued kind of work. You want to maintain this harmonious family. So if nothing is done to mend any issues, any problems, and it kind of cracks, and the cracks will get bigger and bigger, and that's why families break up and so on. So it's important to help the spouse whenever possible, or help the children, or the children help the parents. So these are will sort of tell how closely knit is the family. Are the communication good enough? What kind of upbringing, the values the parent teach the children? Is it a two-way communication, or is it just one-way kind of authoritarian kind of communication, right? So if it's two-way communication, it's easier for the child, right, to speak up to the parents, share their problems, or even help their parents when the time comes. So all these values are important to consider. And if, let's say, one still has a early young family, then it's good to think through the strategies, right? And good to have, we say, parenting workshop, especially new families. So a lot of families, they may not want to attend, these workshops, and they are not equipped, not prepared. And when the time comes, they have children, and it becomes like a first-time experiment. So when there's a first-time trial and error, there will be lots of errors, lots of mistakes. Yeah? So then these mistakes will sort of come back in the form of karma. The way you treat the children, maybe very unpleasantly, and it will come back to one's parents and vice versa. Right? So values are important, and some kind of planning and training is important as well. Right? So all these things won't snowball. Yeah? Okay, then the next point, jobs that are not left unfinished. So it's important to finish whatever assignments, whatever projects one is doing, and if it's left undone, then it will leave a lot of this unnecessary worry and restlessness. Especially one is cultivating or practicing, you have lots of unfinished tasks, and it will sort of accumulate. And if one is not diligent enough to complete the task, then it will slowly become like procrastination. And of course, one needs to weigh and measure if the task is impossible to complete with your current resource or the condition. Then you can, I think the best is cancel, or you can leave it to your project partner to inform them that you cannot finish it. Right? So these are things that will affect one's meditation also, not just for layperson, but also for monastics. Of course, ultimately, spiritually, we talk about finishing the job means reaching Nibbana. And that is the highest job. But of course, along the way, there are more secular, mundane kinds of job. In the temple, in the monastery, the monks have different kind of assignments and duties. Maybe certain area cleaning assignments. Certain monks need to maybe look after the store, become in charge of the store, or in charge of the rations, in charge of the robes, and so on. And there are monks who are in charge of certain rituals or certain chants. So if one or anybody or everybody do not complete their task or do not uphold their end of the bargain to do their task properly, then the organization or the monastery won't function. So in any secular organization, also the same thing, right? Everybody from the boss all the way to the employers need to do their part. So in a family, also the same thing. Everybody needs to do their part. Everybody has their certain tasks. Let's say if there's housewife or house husband has certain house chores to do, you don't do it. Place is dirty, and now we talk about this so-called pandemic, and people get more sick easily. If you do not do the necessary cleaning, you don't need to wait to the end of the year for spring cleaning. Whenever it's dirty, one should regularly do some cleaning. All right. So these are jobs. So these are the highest blessing. So all these are very essential. We call it kind of. Have you all heard before Maslow's hierarchy of needs and wants. And there's this psychological model that they believe before a person talk about this self-actualization or something spiritual or philosophical, they need to have certain conditions fulfilled. Yeah? So at the bottom or the foundation is talking about basic necessities. Your living environment, your food, and stuff like that. Also, if you can survive, then next up is security. Are you safe? And once you have that, then next is your personal achievements, your character building, and your esteem and confidence. So once that is, you're there, then people can talk about something higher beyond that. So of course, it's subject to interpretation. Some people have lots and lots of wealth, but still not enough, not contented. Lots and lots of self-esteem, accomplish lots of, win first prizes in lots of competition, but still not contented. So very much dependent on one's greed or one's expectation. So if a person has lower expectation, then these conditions are easily met, easily bypassed, and they straight away reflect on philosophy or spirituality. Yeah? And if a person is hard to satisfy, then they will take a longer time to climb up this Maslow's hierarchy. Okay, next. All right, then we talk about generosity, living by the Dhamma, assistance to one's relatives, deeds that are blameless. This is the highest blessing. So generosity again, very essential. Dana, for a layperson, somehow dana is the foundation, the groundwork, the easiest thing to do, easiest thing to practice, and the we call it the foundational condition before a person want to talk about precept and meditation. Right? So if a person lack merit, then the meditation will be very dry, or their precepts will be a bit meaningless. So it's very, if a person doesn't perform good, then it's good as lockdown, good as isolation. They can just stay in their room, don't do anything. Yeah, they keep their precepts very well. They don't do anything, but it's a bit too dry. Yeah? No positive kind of vibe, and no merit to help you. So if a person perform good, right, then they uphold the precepts, then they can have this fuel to develop their mind. So a person needs to practice this generosity or any kinds of kindness. And generosity doesn't necessarily mean giving money only. A person can give their time, their effort, they can volunteer, give advice, that kind of stuff. So many things a person can give. Okay, living by the Dhamma. Okay, that means living in tune with goodness, that it's in line with peace. So if a person were to uphold certain teachings that they find the more they follow, the more stress they get, that means something is wrong somewhere. Maybe the way you interpret it is not correct, the way you practice is not correct, or your expectation to it is not correct. Yeah? So you need to fine-tune, and also it has to be looked with regard to the context of the situation. Depends on your surrounding environment, the people you live with, let's say maybe certain families, they may not be Buddhist, for example, and if you want to practice Buddhism and you start chanting, then they may not find it pleasant, or they find it, hey, your chanting is offensive or irritating, then okay, you might need to change to have harmony or peace with yourself or your family. So this is important. So Dhamma is not just the external rituals, it's more on the development of this inner peace of mind. Okay, and the next one is assistance to one's relative. So it's very important, not just within the family, but also to any relatives that you know of, right? Can be close or distant relative. It's important to help. And it is believed that if a person passes away, the next best candidate to help the deceased are the blood relations. So it's important to have this connection with these relatives. So it's a two-way win-win situation, depending on who passed away first. If let's say we pass away and we don't really end up in a good realm, or even if we're in a good realm, and these relatives, they think of you, they perform good deeds, and they dedicate to you, then you can get an upgrade. And vice versa, anything happen to them, and you perform good and you dedicate to them, then they'll get an upgrade. So this is a win-win situation. So assistance to one's relative. So that is more to an afterlife thing. But in this lifetime, so that's why in Chinese New Year, there's this custom or this practice, to go for these house visits, different relatives' house and so on. But now in Singapore with these COVID restrictions, we can't easily visit that many households, or not much at all, depending on the size of one's family. Okay, and next one is deeds that are blameless. Deeds that are blameless. So it's important when a person helps, that is a proactive approach. If you help someone, so you're creating good karma. Deeds that are blameless, that means a person abide in their precepts. They don't do anything wrong, do anything unwholesome. So this is more of the passive side. You protect oneself, and this is the highest blessing. All right, next slide. Okay, so continuation. So what is avoiding of these, or rather having these blameless deeds? Right, so it's avoiding, abstaining from evil. So that also includes refraining from intoxicants. So in short, that's the 5 precepts you all chanted earlier. Avoid killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, telling lies, and these intoxicants. So total of these 5 things, very important. So some Buddhists include in their chant every day to remind them to have these certain standards of living, to uphold these precepts, to maintain a certain moral compass and direction in their life. Right? Being heedful with regard to qualities of the mind, this is the highest blessing. So now we are talking about mental cultivation. So earlier on we talked about dana, generosity, then we talk about precepts. So now we talk about heedful with regard to qualities of the mind. So when a person sort of transits, from unwholesome deeds to something more positive, right? They do good and they uphold precepts, they will slowly see the transformation. Maybe sometimes here and there they might transgress the precepts, then they'll notice, oh, something is changing in my mind, or there's some emotional change that will disturb me. So they will slowly get used to a wholesome state of mind. Yeah? So being heedful, so they want to maintain this wholesome state of mind. So that's why they will start to be heedful. Before that, if a person, let's say, lives in a very unwholesome lifestyle, in fact, they are addicted to an unwholesome lifestyle. You tell them to be positive, let's say give up gambling or give up alcohol, sometimes it may sound impossible for them. So only when a person has tasted or live in line, in tune with the Dhamma, with goodness, the mind is already wholesome, then it's easy to be heedful. That means to protect one's mind from unwholesome states of mind. Yeah, so there are certain conditions, prerequisites need to be done first. Yeah, so this is the Mangala Sutta. We talked about providing all the foundational conditions. But that doesn't mean if a person doesn't have all these foundational conditions, they cannot start practicing with right thoughts, with right thinking. You can start straight away and you can slowly build up all these conditions as well. So I shall end the sharing here. Now it's 9 o'clock. I don't want to overload the audience with too much information. And any questions?
Bhante, supposing say like if we have relatives who are not Buddhists, so after they pass away, we still do the transference of merits to them. It's okay, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Because beyond this realm, it's beyond physical form already. If let's say they are reborn in the higher realms.
So even like Taoist is quite near to being Buddhist, whatever. But if we say Christian, if they are Christians, can we?
Yeah, because
transfer
if
merits?
let's say they are deceased, then it doesn't matter. But what matters is, for those who, living relatives. If let's say you need to perform a physical ritual that the living relatives may not agree, then it's good to find a compromise, try to find a win-win kind of situation, because ultimately their state of mind will also affect the deceased.
Supposing say that we know that our relative is Christian and then they pass on, then we go to the temple and transfer merits to them without the family knowing. It's okay, right?
Yeah, it's okay, no problem. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Main thing is they can receive it.
Yeah, and the main thing is we ourselves perform the good deed and we share undiscriminatively. Yeah.
Oh, because I have relatives who are like Christians. So I'm wondering,
Okay.
like, next time when they pass on, can I transfer merits to them?
Yeah, no problem. There are no issues. Yeah,
Thank you, Bhante.
no problem. Because once a person is in the afterlife, their entire perception will be different. They have if let's say they're in the heavenly realm, they have the divine eye, divine senses. They will see things differently, see things in terms of light. So they won't discriminate according to religion. Now, regardless of religion, it's individual goodness, wholesome or unwholesome action that will determine how bright is the individual's mind or soul, whatever they want to call it. Yeah, so so that will help them. The goodness you dedicate to them.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, no problem. Okay, anyone else?
Bante, talking about precepts, when we keep the precepts, they actually protect us, right?
Yeah, it's to prevent us from committing unwholesome deeds. So that is a tool for transformation. So just by upholding the precept itself, that is just a first step. Yeah, but the protection is needs some time to kick in, just like the sort of the COVID vaccine. They require like 14 days or something. So the precepts, the longer you practice and keep it, the better the protection. Unlike the current vaccines, the longer you wait, the immunity will wane and you need to take boosters again. Yeah. Okay,
So
next.
if we really keep our precepts properly, on our last day, we shouldn't be worried, right? We shouldn't be so afraid.
Yeah, you need to observe your day-to-day state of mind every moment. If every small challenges, small crisis won't affect you and you perform well, so then that will build your confidence. Yeah, you don't have to wait for the last moment.
Thank you, Bante.
Okay. Anyone else has any questions about Facebook comments? No? So everyone here all right? Okay. Then we have a short break and we'll come back 5 minutes later for the guided meditation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm back. Let's see whether the rest are ready. So does anyone here has any suggested topics for future lessons? Is the person who suggested this Mangala Sutta is not attending?
Bhante, the next one, what will you be talking about?
Yeah, whatever you all suggest, then I'll see what I can
Okay,
come up to discuss.
thanks, Bhante.
Because I don't want to come up with a topic that you're probably not interested and will bore you all to death. Okay, so it's 9:12. If there's no suggestions or no questions, then we can start the guided meditation. So you find a comfortable sitting posture. Make sure your back is upright. And the body relaxed. Okay, so we first start off with this physical relaxation of the body. Make sure there's no tension in the body. So meditation also requires lots of this say Maslow's hierarchy to have inner peace. You cannot straight away start off with, okay, I want peace of mind like that. No, you need to have certain these conditions that are right. Physically, you need to perceive that you're safe and comfortable. And next is the mental detachment. So we are now going to practice the Asubha meditation, impurities of the body, contemplations. So we are now visualizing all the hairs of the body from head to toe and wish them well and happy. So before we greet others, Happy New Year, we wish our own body, our hairs, have gratitude to these parts of the body. And every time we conjure a new image of the hairs, we need to repeat the wish again. So new patch of hair, well and happy, new patch of hair, well and happy. So we need to be heedful of the mental qualities. Like when we generate this right thought, it will produce one kind of emotion. Once we stop only idle, then it will produce another kind of emotion. Whether is it wholesome or constructive, you know for yourself. So the whole idea is to train the mind. It's called mental cultivation. You need to cultivate, need to train. And in this routine, we don't encourage the mind to be idle. Once you do nothing, that is equivalent to sleeping. Yeah? That's what we do before we sleep. We let our mind idle, do nothing, and it will fall asleep. So for this mental cultivation or mental training, we are reprogramming the mind or developing a new habit to be more wholesome. Every moment, new thought, new mental contact, and we wish it well and happy. So we are not training the hairs, yeah? The hair is just a perception. So all the 5 aggregates are in there. So now you're softening the mind, make sure the mind is calm and happy. And then we can now contemplate on the impermanence of the hairs. So this is the step closer to self-actualization. So all these hairs go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So they grow and fall off, grow and fall off, many times, many cycles. And we keep repeating this birth and death cycle of the hairs many times. The more the merrier. And then we can reflect and ask ourselves, using this observation, are the mental image of the hairs, are they truly yours? Or the feelings of the hairs truly yours? Or the emotions associated with the image of the hairs, are they truly yours? Can you tell them not to go through this birth and death? And the next part of the body, we are going to visualize the nails, fingernails and toenails. May they be well and happy. And all these nails go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So they keep growing and falling many, many times. And we can reflect by asking ourselves, are these nails or the mental factors associated with the nails, are they truly self? Can you tell them not to go through birth and death? And the next part of the body, we are visualizing the teeth, all the teeth inside the mouth, may they be well and happy. All the upper rows of teeth and lower rows of teeth, may they be well and happy. And all these teeth go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. And we can think of the bone cells growing and falling, many, many cycles, wear and tear, replenishing, many cycles of arising and passing. And if, let's say, you're feeling a bit drowsy, you might increase the rate of impermanence, fast forward the birth and death process. And then we can reflect by asking ourselves, are these teeth truly self? Or the mental factors associated with it, are they truly yours? Can you tell the teeth not to go through birth and death? And next we can visualize the skin. We wish all the skin well and happy from head to toe. And again, the skin is quite a large area. Every time we think of a new patch of skin, we wish it well and happy. And all the skin go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. And we think of the skin growing and falling many, many times. And we can reflect and ask ourselves, are the skin or the mental factors associated with the skin, are they truly self? Can you tell them not to go through birth and death? Okay, and the next phase of meditation, we are not going to deliberately visualize. We are not going to just feel the sensations. Okay, so we wish all beings in front well and happy. So now we radiate loving kindness. And this is real-time observation. Whatever sensation appear by itself, then you just wish it well and happy. That is in front of you. And we come back to ourselves. And now we wish all beings behind well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. Now we wish all beings on the left well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And we wish all beings on the right well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And now we wish all beings above well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And we wish all beings below well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. So this time round, we wish the entire body well and happy, suffuse the entire body with loving kindness, and basically whatever sensation that appear, we wish it well and happy, well and happy. So this is the mindfulness of the four elements. So these sensations can be classified into these four categories. So the earth element represents hard and soft sensations. Fire is hot and cold. Wind is any kind of movement, fast or slow. And water element, moist or dry. So we are not controlling those sensations. We are not deliberately generating them. We are not clinging, we are not pushing them away. We just let them arise naturally, and whenever they appear, we wish it well and happy. So we do this for the entire body. Any sensation arise, well and happy. Sensation arise, well and happy. So any contact left unguarded will be naturally, we resort to clinging, unskillful thoughts. Like the greed or hatred will come to react with those sensations. If it is a pleasant sensation, then there's greed. If it's an unpleasant sensation, then we'll fight it with aversion. So the whole idea is to intervene and change this programming. Every moment, new sensation arise, well and happy. New sensation, well and happy. This is using real-time here and now evidence, moment to moment. Any contact arise, well and happy. And once the mind starts to calm down, then we take note that this is loving kindness, a restricted form of loving kindness within the confines of the body. And next we are going to cultivate a boundless kind of loving kindness. So we wish all beings in all directions well and happy, above, below, and all across. No need to push your mind, let it extend naturally by itself. And no need to deliberately visualize. Whatever the mind expands, it will naturally encompass all sentient beings. So anyway, we have no idea how all those unseen beings look like, all the different species of insects. So we just let the mind encompass all the sentient beings, and if the mind stops expanding, then that will be your universe. And within that field of attention, the same thing, we infuse that area of attention with loving kindness by wishing all that sensations well and happy. It doesn't matter near or far, large or small area, whatever sensation you can detect within that area of attention, then you wish it well and happy. So the more loving kindness you generate, the calmer the mind should get. So this is the paradox of right thinking. So calming the mind doesn't mean no thinking. You need to keep generating right thought to have this calming effect. So in Buddhism, it's always talking about cause and effect. So you need to put in a cause, which is inputting these right thoughts, and the effect will be a calming of the mind. And once you just stay with the end result, the calming of the mind or any peaceful emotion or pleasant emotion, you stay with it and forget the cause, then everything will be gone. Everything is impermanent. So if a person wants to maintain the calm or maintain the stillness, you need to keep generating thoughts of loving kindness for every sensation. So this is using this metta or loving kindness to cultivate this samatha or concentration. Next we add some insight or some wisdom into the practice, and we are going to reflect how to overcome, how to cultivate a more unconditional kind of loving kindness, more detached kind of loving kindness. So we need to keep observing impermanence. So all sentient beings, all dharmas, all sensations arise and pass away all the time. So we observe all sensations arising and passing, and also mentally remind ourselves that all these are impermanent. So all the emotions are just byproduct, no matter how calm or how still. Keep on being mindful of impermanence. Even though you think it is very still, nothing to find, still can find impermanence. Okay, so this is using loving kindness to cultivate both concentration and insight. So the more you practice detachment, the calmer or the more neutral the mind should get. Okay, and the next sublime state, we are going to cultivate compassion. So for compassion, we are wishing all beings, may they be free from suffering. So again, no need to over-imagine any scenario. What we are doing is observing here and now sensations. Any sensation arise, they are always subject to clinging and suffering. So when there's a new sensation arise, you detect it, then you wish all beings free from suffering. New sensation arise, wish all beings free from suffering. So once we start to dramatize and think of any story that is already clinging. And throughout the entire drama, it's not always compassion. The initial thoughts may be compassion, and follow on is lots of worry, lots of planning, how to help this or that person, and the story goes on and on. So every time we produce a right thought, we are cutting off this story. So first, learn to recharge the mind and find this inner peace. And if you do it correctly, the mind should calm down and you'll find some pleasant emotions associated with samadhi. And that is if you're on the right track. And if it's a circular kind of compassion, and it will be like very sorrowful, very sad, which we are trying to not go into for this practice. We are not trying to personalize this compassion. This is cultivating compassion using concentration method. And next we are going to add some insight or wisdom into the practice. So how to overcome this suffering or this clinging? We need to practice detachment through impermanence. So we keep observing impermanence, all sentient beings, all dharmas, all sensations arise and pass away all the time. So we keep observing impermanence. So any formation that is subject to clinging will lead to suffering. So any kind of peaceful emotion are also transient. There's no need to cling on to them. So we are not pushing them away either. We're just taking notice of them at the sidelines, and we continue the journey, walk through the path of impermanence. Okay, so this is using compassion to cultivate both concentration and insight. And the next sublime state will be appreciative joy. So Chinese New Year is coming, so normally people will congratulate each other as a greeting, 恭喜恭喜. So we rejoice in all the achievements of all sentient beings, including oneself. So basically whatever people gained, we wish them not be separated from what they have achieved. And basically every sensation we detect, we are gaining a new experience. So we can rejoice every moment at every sensation. if the mind calms down, then this is using this appreciative joy to cultivate concentration. And next we can add some insight or wisdom into the practice. And we're going to reflect that all sentient beings will eventually be separated from what they love the most, yeah? So we keep observing impermanence, every sensation, they come and go, arise and pass away all the time. So this is also contemplating on the first noble truth. There are 8 kinds of suffering, so one of them is separation from the loved ones. So every experience, everything that we gain will eventually come to pass away. So I don't have to over-imagine 10 years down the road, I'll lose this or that. Just observe the here and now sensations. Okay, and before we conclude this session, same gentle reminder from the Karaniya Metta Sutta. As long as a person cultivates this boundless, sublime state, be it standing, sitting, walking or lying down, then this is the highest practice, highest conduct. And with that in mind, we can gently open our eyes, and even though we formally end the session, informally, right, still can practice right thought, right mindfulness. Okay, those who have opened their eyes, any issues? Okay, if there's no questions or no issues, then we can do the concluding chant. Okay, so we dedicate merits. Yeah, so all these merits is to all the sentient beings. Doesn't matter what belief system they are. Akasata Japumata Devanaga Mahitika Punyang Tang Anumoditva Chirang Rakantu Loka Sasanang Etavata Amhi Sampadang Punya Sampadang Sabbe Deva Sabbe Puta Sabbe Sata Anumodantu Sabba Sampati Siddhya. Transference of merits to departed. Idang minyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang minyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang minyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. And aspiration imina punya kamina Ame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yavani bana patiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so this is the last lesson for this month, and there will be a 2-week break. So wish all of you a happy Chinese New Year or happy Lunar New Year in advance. Any announcements from Terence?
Okay, that's one. If you all are interested, on the 31st night at 11:20, we'll be having a chanting to usher in the Lunar New Year. If you're interested, you all can join. The information you all can get it from MSBS.my Facebook. With that, I would like to wish Bhante and everyone here, and in Facebook too, and everyone, Happy New Year.
All right. Happy New Year and good night.
Good night.
Bye, Bante. Thank you, Bante.
Thank you.
No problem.
Good night.
Bhante.
Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all.
Thank you, Bhante.
Wow.
No problem. Good
Very
night.
happy New Year
Thank you.
to one and all.
Everybody.
Mm.